I'm Sarah, and welcome back to Coffee and Crochet with Sarah. I am so happy you are here today. We have a lot to talk about, and I'm real excited about some fun things we're doing and some things we're getting ready to do and what we did last week. In case you don't know, I'm Sarah Sach, and every Tuesday we try to do a live video on the Posh Pooch Designs Facebook page. That's my crochet page. And we do that every Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. So you may need to check. You can Google it and see what 9:30 in Colorado is for your time. I'm Mountain Time here in Colorado. Um, I'm super duper glad you're all here. I see a bunch of you already clinking in. How is everybody? Did you have a great week? I had a really interesting experience yesterday. I want to tell you about before we get started. I every now and then I have to go and do some blood work because of my thyroid issues, and so I went up to the hospital where I usually go to do my blood work. There was a super duper long line, and that's just because they're still trying to be super safe and not let very many people in at a time. And so there was a line for sign in. Then there was also a line for those who have already signed in. Then they call you in because they could only have, I think, 5 or 6 people in their waiting room at a time because it wasn't a very big waiting room. Well, right in front of me was this super duper grumpy but cute little old lady. And she just kept whining and griping, and her son was there with her trying to help her out. And so I got in a conversation with some of the ladies around me, and we decided we were going to have joy and happiness, even though we were having to wait in these long lines. And it really wasn't the lab's fault. They were short one person that was doing the lab work. And so we did eventually get through. But it was an interesting experience because I'm the type of person that I kind of find the sunshine when there isn't any. I try to make others include others in my sunshine, because it's really uncomfortable when there's one person in this group that's just wah, 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 And the funny thing is, as the line moved, it got longer behind me as well. At one point, there was like 20 in front of me and 20 behind me. And so when this sweet little old lady went in for her appointment, it was like there was just I can't remember, I don't even know what you call it, just an ugliness lifted from the room. And it wasn't that she was an ugly little old lady, it was just that she didn't choose joy. And so, a couple of years ago when all this stuff first started, my word for the year was joy. And this year, my word is peace. And I think they go together because we can encourage other people to find the joy and the peace in rough situations. We're still finding our way out of these issues, and hospitals and doctors' offices are going to have the hardest time. Okay? So try to find some joy and peace, okay? You know what? Once that little old lady went inside, we were taking turns helping because they were calling names out, but we were outside the door and you couldn't hear names. And so we would have one person standing next to the door and they would call from the desk a name, and that person would call. And then as that person got called herself, we sort of traded places just to help each other out, and it made the line move just a little bit quicker. I really love where I go. It's a lab core, I think. They're very gentle in taking your blood because I'm just going to be real honest with you. I am a big chicken when it comes to needles. I did really good with my shots. I did really good with my blood work. So anyway, I just want to encourage you to find joy and peace where you can. All right, looks like we got a bunch of you in. I see a bunch of familiar faces and a bunch of new faces too. I should say names, not faces. But to me, I see your name and I see the picture of your profile picture, and that's who I think you are. So if you're, some of you are puppies and kitties and mountain scenes. All righty. Oh, I see my granddaughter, Callie Anna. Good morning, Callie Anna. I'm so excited. My daughter and her husband and my granddaughter Callie and my grandson Aiden are going to be here at the end of next week. And then we're going to send their parents off. And then they're going to stay for another week and we're going to have fun. We love to do lots of fun things and explore around and just have some fun. All right. What are you drinking today? Are you drinking coffee like me, or Are you drinking something else? Let's clink in. Clinkety, clink, clink, clink. And just a side note, if you want one of the coffee and crochet mugs, you can find it on Magic Mugs Creations on Etsy. Okay? They're great. They've been working with me. That's a small business. They're in Texas. I don't get anything out of when they sell the mugs. They do. And it was as a favor to me and a favor to them. I like to work with small businesses and help them grow. So, okay, now, before we get started in our conversation, I want to do a shout out. I came across this sweet girl. I think of her as a little girl, but she's really not. She's probably about maybe a little younger than my daughter. Okay, and her name is Ella Roberts. The name of her crochet channel is No Catchy Name. And I like that. And that's fun. And so I came across her, a while back and was watching some of her videos. She is just the sweetest young lady. Really real. And it's so funny. She's got a disclaimer on her, underneath her YouTube. And it says something about, I have young kids and dogs, so if you're here crying and screaming and barking, don't worry about it, or something like that. It totally cracked me up when I read it. And I love that because that tells me she's real. And you know how I am about finding people on YouTube who are acting opposed to people who are just being themselves, like me. I have no games. The way I am on camera is who I am in real life. I am this clumsy. I am this silly, and I mess up my words that much. And I do laugh this much too. I learned a long time ago, you got to laugh at yourself. You really have to. And it's okay to laugh at others as long as they're laughing. Okay, so the name of her YouTube channel is Ella Roberts is her name of No Catchy Name. She's really cute. She talks about she makes bags also. I think she sews those. And then she also makes a lot of crochet things. And she's just a really sweet girl. So go check her out. The link will be put on the Posh Pooch Designs page. And then it will also be under the video when I shoot this over to YouTube. All right? All right. That's Ella Roberts of No Catchy Name. I really liked her. I really, really did. All right, so I've been getting a lot of questions lately and people getting frustrated because they're sitting somewhere or out somewhere crocheting along and someone walks up and says, "What are you knitting?" And they get all mad and upset. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this because I used to feel the same way. That was a long time ago. Knitting versus crochet. Okay, so one thing we need to remember is that in a lot of other countries, when someone says knitting, it refers to all of the crafts that have to do with yarn and making what they call fabric out of yarn. It's kind of like Kleenex and tissue. Not all tissues are Kleenex brand, but all Kleenex brands are tissues. Okay, when we say I need a tissue, we think nose. When we say I need a Kleenex, we think nose. But when we say I need a Kleenex, we're talking about all the kinds of tissues. And that's kind of the way it is with knitting in a lot of other countries. It includes crochet, it includes loom knitting, it includes tatting, and lots of other things that are made with crochet. Okay, I found this quote from Martha Stewart. I thought it was really, really good. It says, so is knitting and crochet the same? That's the question. Both are really methods of stitching yarn together, just in different styles. In knitting, the stitches form a V shape. In crochet, the stitches are more like knots, and that's true. Knitting uses a pair of needles. Crochet uses a hook. Okay? The stitches in knitting, let's see, I got off my quote. Okay, the stitches are more like knots in crochet. Knitting uses the needles to form the loops, moving a set of loops from one knitting needle to the other. The stitches are held on the needle. Crochet uses that single crochet hook to hook the loops together. It is this major difference that makes crochet so much easier to work with than knitting. Okay, and so basically, you're still making fabric with yarn. You're just using two different tools and two different methods. And so the other thing is, one is easier than the other. I find crochet so much easier to manipulate the stitches and make shapes and curves and things. And I learned that with knitting also. I just don't like it. I mean, I do like to knit as well, but I don't knit hardly ever at all anymore. And another reason of that is, like I said, it goes faster on crochet, and I can manipulate the shapes better, things like that. But let me just give you an example of something. Every Sunday morning at church, my husband goes early because he works in the sound booth. And so rather than drive 2 cars, I just go with him. I bring a crochet project with me, and I sit there in the back of the church while people are coming in. I talk to people, and I crochet. Every Sunday, my pastor, which I love dearly, him and his wife are wonderful, he walks up to me and says, "Sarah, what are you knitting today?" And years ago, I would say, "Pastor, this is crochet, not knit." I don't do that anymore. You know why? He doesn't understand the difference between knitting and crochet, and he's never going to knit or crochet, right? It's not his thing. And so I don't correct him anymore. I just say, "Oh, I'm working on a blanket," or "I'm working on a hat," or "I'm working on something else." And so I think that we can be kind and considerate and educate. And then if, it doesn't work, then we just say, "It's okay." Don't get yourself all upset over these kinds of things. We have to remember also, there are a lot of things in America that we do different than even in England and other countries. And so don't get yourself all upset and bothered. And if you do, just shirk it off, It's just 2 forms of making fabric out of yarn using 2 separate needles. And I kind of wanted to cover this today because I get so many people say, "Doesn't that just drive you crazy?" Well, I used to a long time ago, but I've decided to choose joy and peace. Another thing that can happen is I like to sit at the park while my granddaughter's playing sometimes and crochet there as well. And people will walk up to me with their kids and stuff and, "Oh, what are you making?" or "What are you knitting?" mostly. And I just learned that if they look like they're really, really interested, and I can explain the difference a little bit in crochet and knitting, then maybe I've gained a friend. But also, if the person doesn't seem interested, then they're more interested in what you're making than the process of what you're doing. And so then I just say, "Oh, I'm knitting a hat for my granddaughter." And then they start chatting and say, "Oh, I need to learn, da da da." And to me, it's just better than saying, "Oh, it's not knitting, it's crochet," and that person walks off huffy. I haven't gained a friend or even made that person feel good that day. And so I would rather, it's kind of a silly way of thinking, but I would rather them stay in their wrongness than correct them, because it's not going to affect their life. They don't knit or crochet and they're not interested in the process. They're just interested in what you're making. Okay, so I just really want to encourage you, don't let those kinds of things get you down or bother you. And like you said, you got to read the room and read the people that are around you and love them even though they're wrong when it comes to knitting and crochet. All right? All righty. Now, I will encourage you that if you only crochet, learn a little knitting or maybe some Tunisian. Tunisian is kind of a combination of the two, but in other countries, it's also considered knitting. So those are things we have to remember. Okay? We think because we live here, it's all about us, but it's not. It's all about, in my opinion, it's all about others and because wasn't it Maya Angelou that said, "People won't remember what you said, they'll remember how you made them feel." And I have remembered that. And to me, it's so important to rather let someone walk off feeling like, you were kind to them than to snap at them. That's all I'm trying to say in this. And you'll feel better also. Okay? Okay. All righty. Now, before we get started in talking about what we did this week, I want to remind you about our giveaway. This is the June. No, it is June. This is the June giveaway. And we have those 3 cakes of our Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Cotton in 3 different shades. You're also getting some of these cushions for your crochet hooks and a crochet case. And of course, Coffee and Crochet with Sarah project bag. Now, you have to comment on last week's video And then next Tuesday, I'll announce the winner of the June giveaway. The other thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to be doing a Big O giveaway in July because we reached 60,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. And I always say it's our YouTube channel because I can't do any of this without all of you guys watching. And so I want to include you in the giveaway. And so what I'm trying to do, my husband and I are putting together a 60 ounces of yarn or more, because some of them aren't even, you know, it's like 247 or something, you know, ounces. Okay, so we're going to be doing that in July, so be looking forward to that, and I'll announce all about it the first week of July, okay? All right, that's the big giveaway. Now, I was in Walmart picking up, my husband likes this milk called True Moo. It's really hard to find. It's 100%, or it's not 100%, I was going to say 100% cotton. It is whole milk, and it's milk chocolate. And I have a hard time finding it. Not all stores carry it, but Walmart does. And I thought I'm going to swing by the yarn just to see what's new at Walmart. Okay, so here's what I found. Walmart has a new cotton. It is the Walmart Mainstays brand. It's 100% cotton. It's a medium 4, 180 yards or 3.5 ounces. And there's something I want to tell you about yards and ounces. I get people all the time will say, you say it in ounces, but I go by yards. Okay, do yourself a favor. Because I have always gone by ounces, that's just the way I was taught. If you're someone who goes by yards, all you have to do is look on the label of the yarn. If you don't have that label of the yarn, just Google it. Put in the name of the yarn and ask, Red Heart Super Saver in some striped color, how many yards and how many ounces? And the answers will come right up. Okay, so don't freak out about that. It's just one thing that I try to remind people is that Google is your friend. You can look things up and find answers quickly. All right, back to this cotton yarn. This yarn is super soft, and it reminds me of the I Love This cotton yarn at Hobby Lobby. Now, they only had a few solid colors. They also had a cream and a black, but I didn't get those. This one is called Daylily Pink, and it's kind of they're all pastels, I think. This one is called just Cotton White, Arctic White. Okay, this one is called Blue Shell. And this one is called Brown Stone. And I thought I could use the 4 of these together to make something nice. And so I really like these. I haven't tried them yet, but they're super soft, all pastel colors. Now I saw these on what they call a sidekick. And a sidekick is one of those cardboard boxes that's hanging on the side of an end cap. You can tell I used to work at Walmart. The end cap is the end of your aisle, and then they'll have these cardboard boxes that'll have items in them. Sometimes you'll see like socks hanging or something, and that's where I found these. But the lady that works in my Walmart, which our Walmart gets so picked over because we're in a community that's a little bit smaller, and a lot of people from the outlying community come into our Walmart as well, and so it gets super duper picked over. So it's if you don't get I think there's like, she told me Tuesdays and Thursdays are the best days for yarn. So anyway, it gets really picked over, and I was really surprised she just put this out. And so I went ahead and grabbed those 4 because I think there's enough on there to make something really nice with these. It's just, like I said, it's a super soft yarn. I wanted to tell you all about it. The price. Oh, I can't remember, but I think it was like $2.49 or something like that. You'll have to look that up. Google it. I can't remember what I paid. I just know I grabbed the 4 of them. Yes, they do have cotton yarn at some of the dollar stores, but it's not this soft. And I have a lot of the cotton from dollar stores. And I have to tell you, they make really good washcloths. That Premier Cotton that's at the Dollar Tree. I also found some cotton when I was visiting my sister-in-law a couple weeks ago, and they live in a town called Pahrump outside Las Vegas. They have a Dollar General. We don't have one of those here. And on their craft aisle, they also had some cotton yarn. It looked about the same as your like peaches and cream or sugar and cream cottons. I didn't buy any, but I have a lot of cotton. I love cotton. And this time of year, you know, we love cotton. But I wanted to tell you about these. I think they were real reasonably priced. So look it up. Let me know what I paid, okay? I was getting a few things I didn't look, you know, close enough. All right, so let's talk about what's new this week at Posh Pooch Designs. So last Friday, we did our Friday Fun Day, and we decorated flip-flops. This is the beaded flip-flops. Isn't that cute? I'm in love with these. And I used the it's the hipster cotton. And so they look different because I just kept going. I did one then the other, and so they came out different, and I love them. The other one we did was just, it was also with the hipster cotton, and we made a flower and added a button. Now, you can put beads on here as well. You don't have to do one without a flower to put beads. You know, you can mix and match, and it's a lot of fun. You can just buy inexpensive flip-flops, and you can use any yarn that you want to. I have made these with acrylic yarn. I really liked the, because the hipster cotton is a light 3, not a medium. It's a light 3, and I really liked how that worked on here. And so I've been using these on the back porch, so they're starting to get a little bit worn on the back deck to go out to my container garden. Okay, and that brings me to, what are we going to do this week for Friday Fun Day? So what we're going to do this week on Friday is I'm going to walk you through my container garden, and I'm going to show you how I have used some crochet things in the garden and things that you can do. You don't have to have a container garden to do a lot of these things. It's just to brighten it up, bring in the bees, bring in some flowers and things like that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So be sure you tune in Friday. It's not a live video. It'll be a pre-recorded video because I want to do it really early in the morning, and I'm hoping that we're going to get some hummingbirds, so you'll see them on my hummingbird feeder. They've been coming, but not a lot. And this is a time of year when they migrate through our area. So, okay, the other thing we did were these fun little granny bags. I love these. They're perfect for putting your lingerie in. They're perfect for, you know, putting anything you want to take along that's small, like a lunch, or you can use these for a little purse as well, and you can make the tie on it as long as you want to. And they're super easy to make. These are made from the Karen cupcake yarn. It's also a medium 3, and I got 2 out of the 1 cake. I think the cake, don't quote me on this, but I think it has about 3.5 to 4 ounces. I don't remember exactly, but I got 2 of these out of the 1, and I just let the colors flow as they did. And I think because this is a light 3, you could use that hipster yarn, because I think Kim did. And there's one in the group that she posted that she did with the hipster yarn. It's really pretty. And this is just a fun bag. Kids like it, and you can put lots of fun goodies in there. All right, then I decided I've been working on this particular project off and on for a while. And that's because I wanted to do some sort of a texture stitch, but I didn't know which one I wanted to use. Callie, she said, oh, the bag that I made you is similar, but it's not the open on the outside. I made her a bag last year. Anyway, Callie, my granddaughter. All right, anyway, I wanted to make one of these caddies, but I wanted a texture stitch. You know, I wanted something different than just rows of crochet, you know, single or double or whatever. And I remember doing this stitch on another project. And this is basically, they're V stitches, but they're half double crochet V stitches, and it has a really neat texture. And what this is it's a remote caddy, but you could use it for, you know, crafting projects. You could use it for, I'm going to put mine out. This is the silliest thing. I'm going to put this one out by where I sit under. I have 2 decks. My granddaughter calls them the shade deck and the sun deck. One's covered and one's not. And I'm going to put this under the one that's covered because I like to keep a crossword puzzle book in there and some pencils. And I'll be able to put some things in there like my glasses or something. But they're really fun to make. They work great for remotes. You can lay it over the side of the chair. You can tuck it in between the mattresses on your bed and put your cell phone in there at night so it's not, because you know it's dangerous to put that cell phone under your pillow. You've seen those videos of those. That's scary. So anyway, this is a great project for Father's Day as well, because that way your dad or your husband or brother or whatever won't lose their remotes. Okay? So that's a project that we did yesterday. It's super easy. You're basically just stitching a long rectangle, and then you're folding it up about 7 inches, and then you stitch around the whole thing and it closes the sides. And then we do top stitches in the middle going through the front and the back to form the pockets. Now I just put 2. You could do 3, you could do 4. You know, if you want to have a little pocket for a pen, you could do that. It's up to you. That's the thing I always say. You do what works best for you and use your creative juices. All righty. Let me clear my throat real quick. Well, my friends, my yarny friends, that's all I've got for you today. Do yourselves a favor and choose joy today. Don't let people that are grumpy get to you. And when someone says something grumpy to you, just smile. I have learned it works better than trying to come up with something like, I love you anyway, or something, When someone is grumpy to me, I just smile. And it works great now that we're not having to wear masks everywhere. Now, we did at the hospitals, of course, and doctors' offices, but oh no, I think I'm going to get the hiccups. Well, that's a good idea. Kimberly says she's going to do hers in New York Yankee colors. You could find whoever you're giving this to, make it in their favorite colors or their favorite sports teams. That is a fantastic idea. And you could always add an applique, like a football or a baseball or I don't know what. I got the hiccups. I'm so sorry. And you can attach that to your caddy. I'm going to let you go so I don't hiccup again. I'll see you all Friday for Friday Fun Day. Bye-bye now.